So let's talk about the underturn and the overturn. And these are my favorite basic strokes. And this is my Crayola calligraphy worksheet. I will give you a link to download this sheet if you want to follow along, but this is just a very simple shape. You can definitely do what I'm about to show you without this guide sheet. But I break it down into a upright version and a slanted version because I think this is actually a quite complicated form. Let me explain. So let's just start with a pencil. Let me show you. We want to achieve a U shape or an underturn shape that has a straight side and a curved bottom. So even just drawing that could be challenging sometimes to get the two sides parallel and then have a smooth curve. So you can start with practicing with just pencil or pen and see if you can get two sides parallel, and of course beginning and end the same, and then with a smooth curve. Now once you're comfortable with that, let's use a marker to draw. I'm using Crayola marker so it's easier to show on this camera. You can just the work also on this worksheet, it works for the size for Crayola marker. Also it works on the super tips as well, but this principle can definitely apply if you're using smaller brush pens such as the Tombow Fudonesuke or other type of brush pen. So let's see if we just draw a monoline, which means we're not applying pressure. We see if we can achieve the same uprightness, the parallelness, and then the smooth curve. As you can see, my upstroke is usually trickier for me. I can usually get my downstroke pretty straight. Okay, that's better. So what we're looking for is symmetricalness, and by that I mean if I cut this in half, the two sides should be the same. So let's do one on just the edge of the paper so I can show you how to examine your own writing. So now I have that shape. I want to know if I look just in straight on, they look alright. But since it's a tracing paper, I can fold that in half. And you can start to see if they are really, if you look closely, you can see if they are really matching. If the underturn you produced is symmetrical. So once we are comfortable with this, then we can move on to applying pressure on our downstroke. So apply pressure downstroke and then release, make a turn, and then make a U-turn. So now with the downstroke, you're still looking at the inside space. So you're still looking at this part to see if this is symmetrical. So I can see there is a little pointiness here, and the curve is flatter here, and this is rounder. And this is the first one is even worse, right? So look at the white space. Then you will see the jaggedness, the corner, the not so smooth turn, and especially this one. This one is definitely the curve ended here, but then it starts here and end kind of here. So that's definitely not even. So these are quite nitpicking on the curve, but I think this is very important. It really helps you to improve the way you control your strokes. And once we are comfortable with that, then we can go on to creating a slanted curve. So obviously when it's slanted, it's not going to be symmetrical. But if you've gone past through this stage, then your curve should be pretty smooth. And the same thing with the overturn. You also want to start using with your pencil or pen that just see if you can draw upright overturn that should have two sides parallel and a smooth curve. Two sides should be parallel and then the curve. And once you're comfortable, you can start using a marker. See if you can produce a consistent line. Like that. And then we can start applying pressure. So definitely observe how your curve to if they are symmetrical, and you can see where does the curve start on one side and where does it start on the other side. So I can see I'm a little off here. This one might be good, but then this one is not as parallel. This one is a little bulging out. If you just extend it out, you will see this is not as straight. And then we can move on to do a slanted one. Upstroke light, and as we turn, we make it. So some of the watch out I would suggest is to see, definitely make sure you're parallel and you're not drawing just a bow. Also, you might have a pointy end. You might have a pointy bottom. So these are my tips on practicing basic strokes. And like I said, if you would like to practice alone, you can download this underturn and overturn practice sheet in the link down below. And I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.